Yes. Did you get that, Tully? Welcome to the Unofficial Big Brother podcast, proudly associated with the Media and Entertainment Board of Big Footy. I'm ODN, and joining me, as always, is the lovely Mrs. ODN.
Hi everybody. Hi, Phantom.
And the ever-impressive Phantom 13 from the boards.
G'day guys, good to be here again.
Oh, look, it just seemed like last week.
Oh, it's just so exciting.
It's been a big week in the house, guys. Let's just run through briefly and get rid of some of the housekeeping, if you like. Pardon the pun. We had the nomination change up since last we spoke, where Michaela was saved and Heidi went into the house. That ruffled a few feathers. We had Ed winning the Saturday Showdown and taking Sharon into the presidential suite. And we had the eviction night, whereby Sharon went home. Only 4% of the save votes. Jasmine had 5%, so it was a tight run race. I think Heidi was around about 9% from memory, Jade and Tim on about 22%, and Drew on 38%. Oh, everybody loves Drew still. Any surprises there for you guys?
Well, the whole crowd down at Dreamworld wanted Sharon to go, so that was no surprise to me because she was the front runner.
You did a snap poll on the way in?
No, but people yell out in the crowd and they're like, yeah, Sharon's got to go, and I guess no surprise there for me at all, considering that, she should really be home. That's what I thought.
Yeah. Phantom?
Yeah, that was certainly the sentiment that was floating around the boards. A lot of people saying, what's the mum doing in there? Look, on eviction night, no surprises. We backed Sharon. We were pretty confident that she was going to go. I do think the rest of them were pretty standard as well. I think Jade had a few more save votes than I probably thought she would, but otherwise it was, I guess, as expected. And probably Jasmine pretty low on the save votes as well. I thought she might have had a few more, but otherwise, as you would expect, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So in our little tipping competition we've got going, Mrs. Odien got a reprieve because Michaela got put back into the safe house. So Sharon was her second choice. So we've all correctly tipped 1 for 1, and our credibility.
We're just all too good.
Credibility intact, and we're waiting for the next challenge. So we had the nominations, and nominations nominated this week were Tahan, Xavier, Tully, Ben, Rohan, and then we had a tie between Matt and Michaela. Well, Tahan and Tully were the two leading vote getters, and Tully, well, she abstained from making a decision by making a decision and saying she's not voting for Matt. So Tahan, being the braver one of the two, chose Michaela to come in and join them. Since that time, we've had a game of pass the parcel in which Michaela won, took herself back into the safe house, and put Matt into the halfway house, which is probably what we all wanted to see for entertainment value. I'm not sure if everybody happy with the nominations, happy with what occurred, and happy with the Michaela's choice to put Matt back in.
Well, I'm a little bit upset that Ben got nominated for he got a lot of points. What was the total? Was it 12? By memory?
Sounds about right. There were quite a few for him, especially early on.
No, 12 was Tahan and Tully got 12. Ben was just under that, I think.
Yeah, well, I'm just a bit shocked because obviously those housemates are seeing a different side of Ben than what we're seeing on television.
I thought they saw no side of Ben during that week, and that was the problem.
That was one of the issues. Yeah, the halfway housemates all mentioned that he seemed to not come over to talk to them. He had no interest in having a chat with them, and he was quite happy just sitting and lapping up the luxury and not getting involved in any conversations, which, to be fair, probably does seem like it would be something that he might do. He's not the most comfortable social creature in the world, so you could see him sort of going into his box, especially in the safe house. I think it's good him being in the halfway house. It's forcing him to come out.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And isn't that what Xavier said too? That he would like to see Ben kind of try and come out of his shell that little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just said he was being very complacent and boring. So
yeah, well, look, as far as my opinion goes, I am shocked that Ben is up, but I really don't think he will go. on Monday. I don't think he will go Monday. I was just really shocked with Ben being up.
I'm coming around to your way of thinking from last week, Mrs. Odien. Ben, something about him this week has just seemed really off. Like, he started crying after nominations, and that seemed really put on because he was so comfortable with nominations last week. Just everything about him this week's been a little bit, I don't know, something's not sitting quite right with me. I don't feel comfortable with him anymore. I liked watching him come out, and he seemed like really affable and lovable and all the rest of it, but something about him is a bit, I don't know, a bit creepy now.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. I can see that myself.
Yeah.
I don't know why though. Maybe he's just not comfortable in that.
Ed had the superpower, and he got to choose 3 housemates that he could listen in on. They split all the housemates into groups of 3, and he got to choose with one housemate from each group.
Ed was very smart how he did it though.
Yeah, he wanted to see. He picked the people that he thought were the smartest, the most astute, the most strategic, possibly in the house, and he wanted to see if he could gauge which way the game was going. So he listened in on Xavier, Drew, and Tim. It's pretty. I don't mind the fact that none of them voted for him, so it didn't really give him any ammunition, and he ended up going with his own instincts anyway when he voted. But it shows that he's thinking about who the players might be and who the ones that are going to really sit back and be a good study of human nature. And I think he picked, probably the 3 best in that regard. The nominations themselves. I thought Michaela's was pretty forthright, straight to the point. She didn't mince her words at all.
She's very good at nominating.
She's very confident in what she says, and I liked it. No beating around the bush about this person's a nice person, but she just came out right out and let them know that the problem that she had with them. So you had to be impressed. Was Matthew hypocritical, self-centered, Xavier calculative and manipulative? Well, you don't get much stronger than that. So good on her. Tim.
Oh, love Tim.
Tim provided probably the biggest highlight in Big Brother history. He nominated Tully for 3 points and went into a big spiel about her being a mean girl and stuff. But just after he gave her the 3 points, he spun around in the box, stared straight at her through the glass and said, "Did you get that, Tully?"
Love
it. Everything I've read since then, boards went into meltdown. He increased his fan base threefold. It was just...
He just doesn't care what people think. He's totally being like he's playing the game.
It's not an act. This is the way he is. Yeah. I mean, did everybody else were shocked but had a big laugh at that?
I wet my pants.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Interestingly enough, tonight he mentioned that he was a bit cranky, I think, this morning, and he said, obviously, that he was a bit worried. He didn't know what he could and couldn't do to upset anybody anymore, and that's just not like him at all. I don't know. I think he does a lot of stuff just because he can and because he is who he is and he doesn't care, and we love seeing that. But I think at the same time, to some degree, he understands that he is playing a game and he's not silly enough to let himself get caught up in all of the sort of crap that's been going on this week. But turning around and having a bark at Tully was fantastic, and it's probably what everyone else is thinking. He's just the only one with the balls to say it.
Yeah, and then look, just expanding on Tim a little bit further there, you're just saying about he doesn't know what else he can do. There is an expectation, and you watch the Twitter feed coming on the bottom of the screen, people saying, "Eat that ice cream, Tim." When he got a second chance to give Tahan's hairdryer back to her, and he ate the ice cream, and he went out and showed her. And
but she was laughing and crying at the same time. I mean, her reaction was brilliant.
It was, but the thing is, how many more times? I'm hoping Big Brother doesn't milk this gag, because Tim knows that he's expected to be this person each time, so he can't deviate from that. So if he does it a third time, people are going to go, boring, he's done it again. He's doing it now just because he's playing a role, even if he's not. And if he gives her a hairdryer back and does the unexpected thing, because that'll be the unexpected thing now, he's going to get called a wuss and everything else. So it's I think he's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't next time. So hopefully they give that one a rest. But, again...
I'd like to see it go the other way. Give Tahan a chance to get some revenge on Tim. I think that'd be quite funny because Tim...
Yes.
We haven't watched him have to take a practical joke yet, really.
Yeah.
I think someone might have frozen a pair of his underwear in one of the bowls, and that's all well and good, but it's not something that I guess he probably cares about too much. So give Tahan the chance to get one back on him and see how he reacts. I think he'll be fine. I think he understands that a practical joke is a practical joke, and he'll get along with it fine. But it'd be interesting just to see if he can handle it, because I think that could be something that would switch the public's opinion of him massively if he doesn't handle it well.
Yeah, absolutely. Were there any other nomination highlights that you guys that stood out for you guys?
The only thing that I noticed was that everyone was a bit more even this week. I think there was only one person that nominated a person for 4 points, and that was Rohan nominating Tully. Everyone else went 3s and 2s. So whether that just shows that, Rohan is being a little bit more calculating and trying to assert a bit more influence on the game, or whether it means absolutely nothing, I'm not sure. But I thought it was interesting because I know if I was in there, there'd probably be one person that I would want to make sure gets nominated. I'd give them 4 points, whereas this week everyone went 3s and 2s.
Yeah. But don't you guys reckon that Rohan should have gotten more? I would have thought that he would have been nominated a lot more, like, points-wise, than what he was.
No, I'm not sure that he's really done anything yet. I don't think he's done anything to
aside from
being
quite lazy.
Which
that'd be enough for me to nominate.
But if it was the first week, being lazy would get you nominated. Now there's cliques are forming, people don't like each other. There's strategic reasons coming in. Being lazy now isn't enough for you to get nominated. I think in the end it probably was, because I'm sure that's what everyone used as their reason for him, other than Ed, I think. But generally speaking, now people are going to be looking to try and get out threats or get out people that they just don't want to spend time with in the house. And someone being lazy probably doesn't impact you that much when there's 13 or 14 other people in the house that can pick up the slack.
Yeah, good call. And as I was just saying before...
Oh, by the way, Tim says that Tully's not rock and roll anymore.
Yeah, you like that?
I like that.
Great call.
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought, well done, Tim.
It was brutally honest, and
you can't tell me that she wouldn't have been able to lip read. He turned fully around, looked straight at her, and I don't know if anybody's recorded it, but if you go back and you watch that part,
she turns around.
Tully actually is like, oh my God, he's talking about me.
She was pretty shocked.
Yes.
I'm not sure.
I don't know whether, because he made eye contact with her when he said, "Did you get that, Tully?"
Yeah,
she would have been able to lip read.
She didn't fall to pieces as though she, she acted confused more than anything, I think. But it was a very odd thing to do, and she might have not been expecting it. So,
but put it this way, I know that Tim's very loud, but I know that chamber is also soundproof. But come on, it'd be like if I went in there and I yelled. I'm sure people would hear.
The other one, Heidi nominating Tahan. She made out all last week after the switch happened that it was fine and it didn't matter, in a very passive-aggressive way, I must say. But then went straight into the booth, 3 points to Han because she put me up there. It obviously burnt her.
Yes, I forgot about that.
We're starting to see a little bit more of Heidi's nasty side come out. I think she's actually one of the nastier people in the house, and not in the way that Stacey was last year. It was quite funny. I think that she actually gets... And she's very, very passive-aggressive about it. She sort of sits there, no, it's fine, but not really.
No, but it's like she's going to hold grudge, hey? Hold grudges.
Absolutely. I think she's holding it deep-seated for Tahan, and there's a few other people in the house. You get in her bad side, and I think that your life there would be very, very difficult, because she won't say it to you. She'll manipulate everyone else around her.
But it was like when Michaela went back in. Oh, hang on a minute. Who did Michaela send back in?
Michaela sent Matt in.
Oh.
Tahan took Michaela out last week.
No, but when the nominations before Big Brother said they were final, Michaela went in.
Yes.
Who sent her in? Just jog my memory. Who sent her in? She wasn't a part of that nomination list.
Oh no, who sent her in? It was Tahan and Tully.
That's it. Did you see how annoyed she looked?
She looked very resigned to it, actually. She got up before they said her name.
Really, really annoyed that she was in there. It was only when she found out she could save herself that she went, oh, Yeah, cool. That's what I'm going to do.
Let's face it. In both of those saves, Tahan made a reasonable decision taking Michaela out, even though Michaela had the most votes. She took her out because Michaela was the only one that hadn't spent any significant time in the safe house, and she was the only one from the halfway houses at the housemates at the time that didn't get saved. So that was a reasonable way to do it, and it was reasonable to put Heidi in because Heidi had equal amount of votes with Tim, and Tim got put in. And the same this way. It was reasonable that Michaela saved herself, and it was reasonable that Michaela put Matt in because Matt had equal amount of points with her. So you'd hate to see somebody on 0 points get shoved into the halfway house. That would be very strategic and probably a mistake at this early stage. It would make a lot of enemies, that's for sure.
The way the house is holding a grudge over it is, I mean, it's understandable because you're going to sort of look at someone that's gotten a good deal over the last 2 weeks, gotten out of the halfway house, be evicted the rest of it and feel a bit jealous, I guess. But the overreaction to it was pretty extreme. There's a lot of resentment and hatred now towards Michaela for essentially 2 decisions that you can't blame her for.
Exactly.
All right. Now, Big Brother had a celebrity visit the house.
Oh God! It happened last year, and they've done exactly the same.
Look,
boring.
People outside the house knew it was going to happen.
I love dogs, but
we'd all seen the rumour, and the housemates got very, very excited.
Well, so did I, because I thought it was actually George Clooney.
And a few of them got quite upset. Now, Michaela had a massive breakdown. This is related to body image. Did anybody feel sorry for what she was going through at the time?
No, not really.
You're a woman,
Oh, look, let me just put it to you like this. If I looked like her, I'd be totally happy. I hate these women that are size 10 to 12 or 8 to 12 or 6 to 12 or whatever and say, oh, I'm so fat. Oh, I've got these excess hips and stuff like this. I mean, come on. If you're going to say that, you need your head read because clearly they're not overweight. Clearly, I understand some women have features about their body that they don't like. But when you're saying it to people that are bigger than you, it's a complete insult. I get that all the time.
Is the real point of it that she's in a house with Tahan, Jade, Jasmine, Tully?
But I think she looks good.
Yeah. She's also in a house with Heidi and...
Yeah, exactly. And Heidi's not that skinny.
Sorry, when I think of the women, I keep forgetting about Heidi.
Yeah, Heidi's not that skinny, and I just think, do you want to know what I felt? I kind of felt, and don't get me wrong, I like Michaela, and I did like Michaela from week 1, but I just think that things have to go her way, and I think that if you want to know the truth, how do you pronounce her name? I always say it wrong. Tahan. Tahan. I think that Michaela wanted the dress that Tahan had on, and Tian had gotten to it first. Michaela was left with this dress that she didn't really like and probably didn't want to wear. Chucked a tanty, got the socks, and obviously she's the type that when she chucks a tantrum or has the socks that she cries. And I'm sorry, I think it was all for attention. I think it was purely done for attention, for herself. You can't tell me that Michaela is fat by any means or any stretch of the imagination. And I think that there's nothing wrong with the way she looks. I honestly think she wanted one of the other dresses that were there, and she didn't get it, so she decided she wanted to chuck it.
Yeah. I mean, there was the house does funny things to people, and there were there was a lot of that sort of going on over the week.
She's taking over the dog, for God's sake.
Well, this was the other thing. She's been very forthright.
She's controlling.
She's been very vulnerable. She's done a few things that made her go up in my estimation. But then that really controlling side where she's, stops Tim from playing, playing with the dog in a certain way, and she's.
I think that's the teacher coming out in her, don't you think, Phantom?
Look, it might be, but she's not a teacher there. She's just another housemate. She's got to let that go. I understand.
Yeah, I know.
Difficult thing for her to get rid of. I guess to me the body issues thing that she came up with in the what happened with the dresses, I think to me at least it seemed very genuine. I don't have body issues. I don't really understand the complexities of it, so I certainly wouldn't. I'm not going to harp on them too much.
But you don't think she's fat, do you?
No, I don't think she's fat at all.
Do you? I don't think she's fat.
No.
But I'm not sure that that's the issue. She's obviously got dysmorphia issues with herself, whereby she looks in the mirror and sees a fat woman. And to me, it came across as very genuine. I think that she does have some issues.
Yeah, I don't agree. I think it's all done purely. Look at me, feel sorry for me.
Yeah, I mean, it might be, but to me, at least, it came across as genuine. The only thing that I thought was a bit ironic about all of that was I remember on her sizzle reel before she went into the show talking about how much she loved eating pasta and loved her carbs. It was sort of going,
okay, see,
pretty quick fix if you do think that there's something wrong with your body there. But I like I said, no, without making light of it, I don't know what her issues are. I certainly don't understand them, but it did look genuine to me.
Yeah,
so.
Okay, fair enough. See, we can't all agree. I just disagree with you, boy.
Nor should we, and that's fair enough. I mean, look, I think, and Odean, I think will probably agree with me on this particular instance. When it comes to men, and you start talking about women's body issues, we just want to shut up shop and go, yep, whatever the case is, that's you have your cry and need a cuddle. But I don't want to talk.
I'm not going to question that. I'm not going to be misogynistic, and It did look believable, but then we are susceptible to such things sometimes.
Absolutely. And then no interest in getting into an argument about it because it's just, one, it's too much hassle, and two, we just don't get it.
Yeah. Just a few little highlights for the week from me, and I'll just we'll sort of raise them as we go, and if you think of any, bring them up, but we'll raise them for comment. Tim had a little bit of a soft moment where he went in the diary room and he said that he doesn't think that any women are wishing that he was their boyfriend, and again all these hearts melted across the forums, various forums, and he ended up with Heidi saying he was sexy as hell, and Jasmine saying that she would go for him before she'd go for Ed because he's just that sort of fun type and less intimidating. But did you, Mrs. Odean, did you feel for Tim when he?
Oh, look, I mean, I think Tim constantly shows different sides of himself all the time, and that's what makes him an interesting character.
Yeah. Would you want him as your?
No, definitely not. Not my type. I mean, everyone.
Fair enough.
Everyone's got different.
Let's throw Paul Timmy a bone. Would you, if you were so inclined, would Timmy be on your list? You don't have to answer that.
I felt bad for him. I mean, we were just talking. It's probably a beautiful segue talking about women's body conscious issues, and men can have them as well. And Tim's is stuck in a house with the likes of Ed, Drew, who my wife has now decided is the most handsome man on the planet.
Yeah.
And a couple of other good-looking guys, Matt, Caleb, even if you're into that sort of look for girls. So it's going to be tough for him. Like, as a man, you would like to think that women find you attractive, and he's certainly not the alpha male in there, and the women aren't fawning over him. So it's probably a bit hard to take. I can certainly understand where he's coming from.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Look,
I think it's interesting seeing him do that, because you think that he has got so much confidence and so much self-belief in everything that he does and everything that he says. To see him a little bit vulnerable about something like that it's interesting. You don't expect it.
But can I just add to that is that because he's that very boisterous and he's loud and he's proud and he'll say whatever he wants to say, to some women that can be intimidating though. I mean, Ed's got women would find Ed intimidating because he's so perfect and so good looking and he's got the abs and he's got this and he's got that. But then when you go to the other end of the scale, and then women are like, do we find Tim attractive? Personally, he's not my cup of tea, but I'd be a bit scared of Tim. I don't know what he'd turn around and say to me, so I'd find that intimidating.
I would have thought laughter would be the best medicine, and his personality would certainly make it easy for them to talk to him. But it's very interesting to get different perspectives.
He's certainly not going to be everyone's cup of tea, I think, is the big thing, whereas someone like Ed is quite good looking, he's got a good rig, obviously, and he's just a bit, I think he's bland personally, but he's not going to offend anyone, so you're not going to have any strong feelings either way, whereas Tim, you're going to go in and go, I love him, this guy's fantastic, or I can't stand him and I don't want to talk to him. So he's more divisive in that way, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Look, I'm so sorry to do this to you guys, and it seems we're talking about this sort of thing every week, and that's probably what the house brings. But Ed and Jade this time.
Oh, God. I'm over the saga already.
AKA Jade Ed.
Oh, no, Drew's okay to tickle my back.
Yeah.
Poor Drew.
Anyways, look, Ed and Jade kissed prior to the eviction in case Jade thought she might be going home, so they had a couple of little small ones there, and then the big one was when Jade crawled up the bed on all fours to plant one on Ed after an exchange of knowing glances, and Ed promptly told Heidi that Jade wasn't his type, and he proceeded to give the most awkward "it's not you, it's me" speech in human history.
Oh, it's funny.
Look,
he's not so perfect after all.
It is a former AFL footballer, but I just think the lack of smoothness with Ed there has really embarrassed a lot of us, and I think he's harmed the AFL with this. And if the AFL Commission have their more imminent plans put on hold, maybe they can bring Ed up on charges of bringing the game into disrepute. Because that was a shocker. I didn't know which way to turn. You know what I mean? I feel like an idiot. Rinse, lather, repeat.
I think
what was your take on that?
Jade gave him a mercy killing in the end and just let it sort of went, so you're not into me? Is that what this is? And he went, oh, she went, no, that's fine. I think we should just leave it at that, and walked away. Two schools of thought. The first one is, we obviously saw that Ed's not Mr. Perfect because he couldn't talk his way out of a wet paper bag. That was terrible. Looked like a 14-year-old boy asking his first girl out, and he looked like the red-headed kid with braces trying to ask out the prom queen. It was terrible. But having said that, I'm also not 100% sure that it came across as him being the nice guy anymore. He sort of went, I'll have a taste of this one, had a bit of a pash to her and went, nah, don't like her, I'll flick her and maybe move on and keep my options open.
And go to Jasmine.
Yeah, I think he might actually be a bit of a lady killer, and to be frank, maybe a bit of a prick.
Yeah, and you know what? No, but I agree. He's not that perfect.
Phantom just brought out the big guns now. We're cooking.
I'm going to go there. I reckon he is. I reckon he's probably, I hate to say it, but your typical AFL footy player that's probably been through a few ladies in his time and doesn't like to be tied down to one. Saw that Jade maybe was getting a little bit too keen on him and freaked out, and has probably never had to deal with doing that face to face. He's probably done it over text message a million times.
Shocking. It was a plethora of half sentences. I don't think he finished one sentence in that whole thing, and he capped it off by giving another half sentence and telling Jade not to think. Luckily for Ed, there was no risk there.
Yeah, but I don't like how Jade is kind of going back and forth, using Drew.
He's a safety net.
Yeah, but I don't like that. Don't use someone like that.
But she is using Drew as a bit of a safety net. But does anybody find that Jade is more likeable when she's with Drew?
Yep. And to add to that point, she might be using Drew as a safety net, but I'll be damned if Drew's not letting her.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, man, that sort of thing, getting walked over like that is not usually good for your reputation and your longevity in the house.
It makes you look weak.
Yeah, but I guess his saving grace is his best mate in the house is Tim, and they get up to some antics. So he hasn't done a complete Josh and started fawning over Jade and not participating in anything. Josh with Ava last year thing. So luckily Tim's still around to keep Drew moderately interesting.
The other interesting one to come out of all of that, and this is a big throw to you, Mrs. Odeon here, is but we saw Jade, Ed, Drew, Jasmine, and we saw all the hate go towards Jade and Jasmine. Pretty much everyone forgot that Ed was the one involved in the middle of this that's going around pashing two girls.
Yeah,
Those
exactly.
two guys are at war. I don't understand it. I don't understand how they can sit there and be angry at each other. Frankly, my opinion on the whole thing is they're all single. They all had a pash. It was in a spa. Who really cares? Move on and have a bit of fun. From memory, last year, Layla kissed everybody in the house and had two separate house boyfriends, and nobody cared. But for some reason this year, the girls don't like it.
No, you know why, though?
Please explain this to me, Mrs. Odeon, because I don't get it.
Jade made it the issue. Jade made it the issue. She sat on the bed in the safe house. She was talking to somebody, and I can't remember who it was because my memory's been terrible this week. But she said, and quote, she said that Jasmine has proved to me tonight that she doesn't like me, because if she did, she wouldn't have done that out in the spa. She wouldn't have kissed Ed. Now, the thing is that if she hadn't have said anything, it would have just gone unsaid. It would have just been Jasmine and Ed kissing in the spa, finish, end of story. Jade was the one that wanted to turn it into the issue.
Did Jasmine break the girl code?
I personally don't think she did. She's got a right to kiss Ed,
to.
just like any other single girl in that house has a right to kiss Ed. Ed and Jade are not exclusive. They are not a couple. Okay? Yep. Just because Jade has kissed him
you're absolutely right.
It's just crap.
You're right, but I have to say, and my wife said the same thing watching the show, and a few other people mentioned, the kiss that occurred between Jazz and Ed was no big deal to me, and I couldn't care less, to be frank, but it didn't come about sort of organically. It came about because everyone went, let's get Jade and Ed to kiss.
Yeah, like a dare.
Hold a second. Bugger Jade. I want to have a pash with him. Yep. I don't know. To me, I thought it was a little bit more pointed than perhaps it was. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but to me, it came across as Jazz going, I'm a bit sick of being the single girl that gets forgotten.
Yeah, I do agree.
I'll put my hand up.
But I didn't like the way Jade had to talk about it in the bedroom, making it more of an issue.
She obviously, superficially fallen for Ed, pretty hard already. So it's not such a big deal. But I can't blame Jazz for it. I mean, she actually did like.
I think she's great. She's really coming out of her shell.
She liked Ed first. She hadn't made any moves or anything, but she announced to people that she really liked him right from the outset. That and she said she's in there to have fun. So it's really interesting because we're starting to see more from Jazz.
Yeah, but I didn't like her. Remember the first week?
Well,
I was like,
there was nothing. We didn't see anything of her to like.
Now I really like her.
The thing is, she got no airtime. Now she's getting a little bit of airtime, and the thing is, she's forcing that airtime. She's doing things. She's actually thinking, you know what, this is an experience, and I'm in here to have this experience and live it to its fullest. So she's gone after Ed and thought, this is what I'm going to do. She's flirting with Big Brother every week in the nominations chamber. This love affair.
Do you like this colour, Big Brother?
This is going to continue on.
The colour of my lips.
She's stepped it up and it's given her airtime, and she's not gonna die wondering now. See, she's not gonna get out and think, Jesus, they didn't show me more than 2 minutes on the whole show, like Sharon, would be thinking. They saw me laying around, but I didn't actually talk to anyone. I was a bit mopey and stuff. Jazz is like she's happy, she's in charge, and she's risen again in my estimation. So good on her.
Absolutely.
Tahan taking things a little bit more in a stride. When over the ice cream thing and Tahan's laughing and crying thing, she took that a lot better than she did the first time. She has an occasional bitch session about the likes of Rowan and him being lazy, but she's certainly a lot more intelligent and has more substance than I gave credit for in the early days. I thought she was going to be the biggest princess bimbo in the house when she first came in.
But you know what? Seriously, can I just say one thing? Tully, cry me a bloody river, would you?
Oh, look.
I'm sorry, if I hear her cry anymore, she's going to flood the southeast of Queensland.
Oh, Tully's turned petty, jealous, wild mood swings. She's claimed Matt as her own. She, which I wonder what the two ladies sitting at home are thinking about that one.
She's got to go.
And even Matt's getting sick of the negativity. He's expressed it to the other housemates. So,
do you agree, Phantom? What do you think of Tully now?
I think I said it about Michaela last week, but she's the new car crash television. I want to see where she's going because nothing would surprise me with her. If she went in there and decided to try and break down the wall and piss in the pool or do whatever, it would not shock me in the slightest. That girl is completely insane. Totally insane. And as Tim said, she's not a rock star. She thinks she is, and she thinks she's super cool. She thinks everyone loves her and everyone's on her side. But she just has got no idea what she's doing. She's manic. And yeah, like you said, she cries all the time, but she thinks that someone else is crying more than her. She's happy sometimes, but she thinks that she's the happiest person in the house. She's just insane. It's great.
Completely.
Yeah, I mean,
she's not stable in the head.
If you're going to be unpredictable and stuff, but I'm finding it quite. I'm finding her mood's quite predictable now. She's almost in a permanent state of depression.
It's getting painful, and it's obviously, I mean, if you can grade on Matt,
yeah,
and she obviously loves Matt, and even just the other day, I think Matt had a little tiff with her over the wall and said, "You're just negative all the time. You need to cheer up." And she went, "You're no fun. I don't want to talk to you anymore. How you going, Ed?" I was like, "Oh, that's a really mature response."
Oh, she'll be gone Monday anyway.
We'll see.
Her and Rohan.
Caleb and Lucy.
Oh, God.
Is there any heat there at all?
There's nothing.
It's the most awkward thing you've ever seen in your life. It's like watching, I don't want to be the one to say it, but it's like watching weirdly attracted cousins. It's just bizarre.
I can't believe you just said that, because guess what I was thinking? I was thinking, oh my God, it's like a sick brother and sister kind of thing. Like, they look brother and sister. Like, to me, they're both blonde, they're both dumb, and they both look like they could be brother and sister. So for me, seeing them, I'm like, nah, it just doesn't gel.
I would be more interested in that relationship if they were brother and sister, quite frankly.
But I can't believe that you actually said about the cousins, because I was like thinking along kind of the same lines.
The thing just doesn't gel. Obviously, between the two of them, they struggle to put together one coherent sentence.
Yeah.
Oh, look.
For the two of them to talk to each other, it's just, I don't know what's happening for the time. And then you've got the other sister that has to be around all the time. So when they do want to get a bit kissy, touchy, feely, someone's got to run interference, or they've just sort of got to do it in front of her. It's just weird.
It's awkward.
Look, guys, moving along, we saw tears from Tully, Dahan, Jade, Michaela, Xavier, Caleb, of course Ben, and we saw synchronised tears in the diary room from Lucy and Katie. And there was maybe some tears of laughter from Drew when Tim emerged from the diary room with yet another empty ice cream container. In fact, a tear is starting to form as I'm talking. I don't remember this many tears in the show ever. What the hell is going on?
Look, first and foremost, Xavier and Caleb both need to hand back their man cards, because that's shameful the way that they were crying. Xavier crying over getting nominated. Come on, mate. You were going on the show. You knew that people were going to get nominated. You're ragging on Tully for getting him overly emotional for getting nominated. Man up. Who cares? You knew that you might get nominated. Deal with it. But it didn't work. I think most people sitting at home would have just gone, you were coming across as sort of the funny guy that, was there for a bit of entertainment and said some funny things and was probably a bit more intelligent. Now you look pathetic.
Exactly.
You know what it is? Tim had this pegged. He's going to be absolutely shocked, wondering what he did wrong and how he got there. He was playing a certain game and he's playing the wrong game, and he was aligning himself with the wrong people because he thought maybe he was part of that cool crowd, and he's sort of more in between, and he's a little bit more eccentric and a little bit more of the fun-loving sort of crowd, and he's got in there and he thought, oh my God, what's my game? What should I be doing? And
he's going to be sitting there stewing over it and over-analysing everything that he did. And that's why I think he started crying, because he's sitting back. He can't figure it out. I don't think it's necessarily because he's upset at being nominated. If it is, then that's even worse. But I think it's because he's just not sure now. He doesn't know what he's meant to do. And at the end of the day, that's why this game's so good, because you can't go in there with a strategy or a game plan. You have to be yourself and hope that that's enough.
Oh, look. Well, I understand... I understand Caleb crying because, because Matt died, of course, and didn't he?
He lost his boyfriend. He lost his partner.
Did Matt die?
I believe so.
Caleb, that must have been it, because you can understand, he had a little bit of a tear because his best mate is obviously shuffled off this planet to the other side of the Perspex screen. Oh, you're kidding me, aren't you?
That was awful. Mrs. ODN, what do you reckon about it? How do you feel about a man crying, first and foremost? But then secondly, the fact that he's crying is because a bloke that he met 2 weeks ago might possibly get evicted from the house that he's gone into in 4 days' time.
Oh, pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. I mean, come on. It's just, they're coming across like they're wimp. They're both wimps.
It was an odd thing to see as well, because Caleb looks like the sort of bloke that you could dead set see with a club in one hand, dragging one of the twins back to his lair, and yet then you see him bawling his eyes out because his best mate got
he was there saying he was going to take on both of them, didn't he? He's, mate, he can't handle it.
Mate, if he did that, he'd be crying.
Look,
Wimpy. Pathetic.
There was a bit of a rumour. Somebody came on the Big Footy and suggested Xavier's he's either a Big Footy poster or he's an avid reader of Big Footy and trying to get people to save him. So because it's relevant to Big Footy, it's that's kind of interesting. I don't know if we. I was sort of thinking, do we go a little bit easier on Xavier? We don't know who he is. He could be somebody we talk to every day. But no, we've got to call it.
Favouritism? No, I don't think so.
I'm not going to get on and spend my money to save him. But yeah.
Xavier, mate, if you do ever listen to this, don't reply because someone doesn't like you. It's just pathetic, mate. It's not manly. It's a bit sad. And if you're going to claim to be a Western Bulldogs supporter, you should be used to people not liking you and feeling a bit miserable for you.
You should be a tough
nut. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Look, he had a challenge given to him by Surly. And just before I continue with that challenge, get rid of Surly, please. A CGI fish in a drain. There's absolutely no future in it. It's pathetic. There's better ways of getting them to take on tasks than that.
That's ridiculous.
Just get Big Brother to give them challenges. He does it anyway.
I think somebody working from Big Brother, actually, it's one of the only accents he can do, so he does Surly. That's what I read.
Well, he's actually the producer.
Yeah, well, anyway. Surly sucks. Get rid of him. But Xavier... His challenge was to act absolutely whingy and miserable for a day. He was very good. He was actually very good doing that task. And I couldn't help but once, because we saw that after the nominations, but it obviously occurred before the nominations. So I was sort of wondering
how much that played into it.
Yeah, if any of his votes came from him being a miserable bastard because he was being forced to be.
And then at the end of the day, I think, what did he get for being miserable? It wasn't very good.
No, it wasn't at all. He got trolled big time by Big Brother. Listen, I'm gonna move right along because the eviction on Monday night. We know who's been nominated. We're all 1 for 1 in our tips. Now, we believe that it might be a double eviction. So
it is.
When I get your tips, I'm going to ask you to pick your first choice and your second choice, just in case Big Brother pulls a Swifty and makes it only a single eviction. And we'll see how we go. So, Phantom, who do you think is going to be the two eliminated in order?
Look, number one, and I think the person that will definitely go, the one I'm fairly confident of, is Rohan, whatever you want to say. I think he'll be the one to go. He's not doing a lot in there at the moment. He's a bit dull. He's shown a little bit more before. He's no big loss to the house if he goes. The second one is really, really tough, and I'm gonna pick one, and I think Mrs. Odien's going to hate me for it, and it's half me wishing that it happens because I think it'll shake the house up, and half me hoping that it happens because I just think he's a bit dull. I'm going to say Matt.
Oh,
Ooh.
Matt.
Yeah, I like your thinking. I like your thinking because that will shake up a lot. Interesting. Mrs. Odien, who do you think of the two that are
look, I just don't want Ben to go, so basically I think the two that will go will be Tully and Rohan.
Yeah,
Tully first.
I definitely agree with Rohan. I agree with Phantom's sentiments on Matt's demise really shaking up the house, and it's a possibility because we're all a fairly morbid bunch out there when it comes to our voting and stuff and what we want to see and what we want to be entertained by. But I'm probably... Oh, gee. Look, I'm going to go Tully as my second. I think it will be Rohan and Tully. But I can see reasons to keep Tully in the house just because she's such a car crash television exponent, as Phantom was talking about. So
don't you both just really want to see Tully if Matt gets voted out?
Oh, it would be great. Look,
but
what we want to see is that necessarily the demographic that's doing all the voting. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Tully hasn't done much to maintain any popularity of late, and she's not going to pick up teeny bopper girl votes to save, whereas Matt might. So that's my rationale. But yeah, Matt going would be a fantastic result because it's meathead television. He's not offering anything. So that's. We'll see what happens. So Phantom's gone out on a limb.
It's a big call early. I'm probably going to be wrong.
He could streak the field here and be one in front of us after
I don't know.
after Monday night. Was there any other points that anybody wanted to raise this week?
No, not really. I'm just looking forward to next week. Next week looks like it's going to be massive, so a lot going on.
Well,
and I'll report from the eviction from Monday night.
Yeah.
I'll let you all know how it was.
Well, it's been indicated that the wall's coming down next week, so
can't wait.
That'll be very interesting.
I don't like it. I've grown to like the wall, and I've grown to like the way that it divides the house. We saw this week, obviously, everyone in the halfway house became quite bonded and galvanised, and everyone in the safe house voted for each other. I think it'd be interesting to see how the dynamics change, but I really like that that's happening, and I think if it continues to happen week to week and it changes, then you're going to see all these different cliques emerge.
But Phantom, I think there'll be something else.
Oh, okay.
I'm kind of, and once again, it's another unconfirmed report, but I do have a lot of sort of unconfirmed reports that I do hear, being at the Big Brother shows and stuff and people knowing people, that there's some kind of like another room. It's not like a punishment room as such, but it's like another room, and it's just got beds in it.
Ooh, okay. Well, maybe something else will happen. Maybe it'll all come around. But I've liked the wall. I think it's been good. They've done a good job with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's been another informative and action-packed episode of the podcast. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us again. Thank you, Phantom.
Thank you. I guess if anyone is listening out there, feel free to join in. It's a bit of fun, nice and easy, and we've got a great host and some great guests that are on the show, Mrs. Odian and myself. So get on board, guys. It's great.
Yeah, here. I second that.
And thank you, Mrs. Odian.
My pleasure, as always.
And it's a big thank you and goodbye from me, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
See you guys.
See ya.